saw a story on GB News from my beloved hometown of Rochdale, showing photographs, and the Cenotaph's been vandalised by two teens. What is it with teens? Two teens have been arrested. It's like, you'd be surprised how quickly the authorities will, you know, jump to attention when you attack their symbols. Surprising, isn't it? You know, they've caught those two, and it'd be a matter of teens, well, Free Palestine with 3 E's. It was actually, or was it Free Palestine? East Palestine? Is that what they call in Israel now? Don't know, or it could be just someone who doesn't know how to spell free. Free Palestine. Not his best work, probably, you know, it's not exactly Banksy. And then they've daubed some paint. Free Palestine. And you're like, dumbass, a reflection of something, an act of disrespect. One that would find itself publicised because you've attacked one of the symbols of power. And then GB News make it a thing. Gets sent around so it trends on Twitter, Rochdale. And then it's a mixture of people getting round to seeing that Gangs documentary and this story today. So it's like, Rochdale is something that trends, so hey, here's to a little bump in the audience. And you could call it, you could, Rochdale Cenotaph attacked. Kind of, but you can't attack a thing, can you? Well, you can attack a thing, but not with paint. You could call it that. I would just say, basically, the devil makes work for idle hands, and it's like those kids like the no fuck all but to best troll. Let's fucking wind some people up. Let's get them revving. Okay, let's head for fuck it. Let's daub paint on the Cenotaph, and that'll fuck with them. Yeah, that'll get a reaction. It's like, here I am. It's like it shows a notion of target selection, because if you were to just daub Free Palestine on a wall, just the same paint anywhere else could have been applied. No one would have been too bothered about coming getting you, but it's like, you daub it on the fucking Cenotaph and they'll come. If you daub it, they will come. So it is a deliberate act of provocation. And the cops have already taken the bait. They've caught the guys. It's like, okay, fair cop, we're the greatest, funniest trolls in the universe. But the point remains, it's like, you put that there, don't you? And you put it as a provocation. It's like, what are you going to do, white man? Ha! And then they immediately get the white man response when the police track them down and fucking arrest them. And then it's like, see what happens when you fuck with our stuff. Police not messing about. So that it goes, do so. It's a provocation. It's like, do something. And, you know, the cops have done something. They've arrested them kids. Free Palestine was the message, but Free Palestine with 3 E's. Not disrespectful. It'd be seen as a deliberate attempt to provoke. So it's the logical place to do it. Disrespect, no, we're past that. Don't draw the line at disrespect. Draw the line at, this is the place where you daub to get the attention. And now at this moment in time, say the GB News way of throwing it out there, they were like, what is this? And I tell a tale of dickheads doing what doing something to deliberately get attention and to provoke. The response they got, arrested. You know, when you go up in front of the magistrate, what have you done? We daubed graffiti on the cenotaph. So like, good luck getting a job in future with that down. You got a criminal record? Oh no, I'm a good lad, me. I've stayed out of trouble. I'm an art student or something. No, I'm an aspiring rapper or architect. And then they do the check on them, it comes back, daubed graffiti on cenotaph. It won't say what you daubed. And then you hide behind that, don't you? Like an Extinction Rebellion rat. We're saving the world. Do you know what the Israelis are doing to the poor people in Gaza? As if you've got a reason to daub, a legitimate reason to daub Save Palestine on the cenotaph. To me, a perfect reflection of dumbassery, not something that needs to be on GB News, them saying this, because it's like Rochdale, right? I've said it once, and I will say it again. It's like, it won't kick off like that here. Not with them. Not with the Muslim lot. Why? Because they've already got it sussed. They've already got it stitched up. They don't need to be causing trouble around here. If you look at that thing that the police went to some great lengths when those guys got to bloodletting and chopping, they arrested them all. They set about some actual police work. Good old-fashioned police work. Brought them down. Listening to people asking questions. Brought them down. So it's like political protection evaporates when the bloodletting starts. They've got a good thing going on. As to where they're left alone to go about their business with special rights and privileges. There's no way they want to rock the boat around here. They'd be stupid too. It's like, oh, how about scoring a great big own goal? Let's bite the hand that feeds us. Let's shit on our own doorstep, shall we? So it's like when that one popped up there, I'm like, well, you know, you don't look to. I don't look for the sort of Muslim Islamic community in Rochdale for trouble. I don't look to them for trouble. And I don't look to gangs of vigilante patriotic heroes for trouble too either. No, dicks. But I tell you what, to use Rochdale as a kind of an ideological sort of touchstone, it's part of some kind of momentous campaign to get as many idiots as possible to turn up in London on the 11th. What are we on? The 8th? 3 days to go. We'd like to get every idiot in the country to make their move, make their way down to London, because this could be the one. (11/11). That's a good one. Sacred for all kinds of different reasons. 11/11. Let's have a day to remember in that London town, eh? I ain't good. There's no outcome that isn't ugly because there's people involved, and I say every provocateur on every side has got an interest in shenanigans. Outsiders looking in, they've also got an interest in shenanigans as well. You create a situation where so many could benefit from chaos now that it's a matter of they'd all be queuing up to cause some kind of outrage. Queuing up for it. So, with that in mind being probably what would be the greatest news story since COVID, the likes of GB News are giving everyone the nudge, aren't they, down that place? You've seen the posters. The Palestinian lot, the pro-Palestinian Free Palestine people are laying on coaches, bringing their hardcore, probably will likely be coaches full of women, down from Yorkshire, down from places like Rochdale, Oldham. They're all bussing down to London to join the demonstration, or would like to create the illusion that they're going to, on the same day as they have the great pageantry of Memorial Day. So we're having Free Palestine on Memorial Day, and then obviously a counter to that, because you'd expect that, because it's taking the piss a bit. It's a bit on the nose, let's say, for something that isn't going on in this country, that isn't anything that anyone in this country can actually do anything about. Now, love or hate what's going on in Gaza, don't matter what you feel about it, it's going on. The world could care less about your feelings, because none of us, as much as we might hate it, can do anything to stop it. Nobody. Put that lot to you when I was talking about it, as to where you thinking about surrendering yet? Are you thinking about surrendering yet? Really, are you thinking about surrendering yet? It's like these wars, it's like that. My way of dealing with it all is that I judge it, and in judging it, I'm like, well, this is how it will play out, as to where it's out of my hands. I've judged it. I know what it is. I'm not going to change my position on it. I've judged it. What's your position? My position is that you've unleashed the gods of war in that 1,400 killing, bloodletting, and it's like you're going to be taught a lesson for this. It's like there's provocation and there's provocation, but they've had enough. They're going to come and get you. They're going to stick with it. They're going to run it right. They're going to let it run its course. They're not going to be stopped. And no one, right, is going to stop Israel from dealing with Hamas, because of they understand the gravity of the 1,400 dead, where there are those that don't. And to be seen to be in support of what they did that day, it's unseemly. It's an indefensible position in the context of what's actually going on. And this Free Palestine thing is just it's an offshoot movement of part of what is the Islamic world's mantra, part of their political end, part of their conditioning. So you're getting a conditioned response. And in that conditioned response, you're showing up what is a great deal of silent bigotry, which is actually a true anti-Semitism. So what? Fuck them. All the sympathy in the world for those being bombed, who they just don't know, otherwise don't give a fuck about. It's like, if you wanted to truly, right, the thing is, if you want to help the people, this has been the thing for years, if you'd ostensibly see eye to eye as someone who's a loser, fucking working class, nothing person, and you look across the sea to someone in a similar situation in Gaza 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it's like, I've got a better lot in life than you. A much better lot in life. To be poor. It's like, I'm fucked. It's like, imagine what someone on their uppers in Palestine goes through. Them are ones I care about. It's like those whose destiny is not in their own hands, has never been in their own hands, are flotsam and jetsam and will be wherever there's work. Those kind of people. They really suffer. Because they're the last in line. They're the last people with the money. They're the people who can't afford to run. And because they live from hand to mouth, they're the first ones to turn up at the fucking UN fucking aid station as refugees. Those who arrive first as refugees, the ones who've got nothing. It's like, no, I've just been busted out, electric's gone, what the fuck. Those guys, they have it rough. And it's like, well, it's like the world makes very harsh judgments of those who don't help themselves, and it doesn't matter if it's fair or not. It's weird. It's like the reality of life is, it's like if you're sort of born powerless and poor, when these great forces of the world, which when you're young you don't really understand, and then when you're my age you can be very cynical about. The powers that control your life because you can't live independent of the system have decided to go to war. It's like that affects you. Sorry, you know, getting caught up in a war is not dissimilar to getting caught up in a mass redundancy. It's not dissimilar. It's like forces bigger than you have decided to just churn the fucking barrel on you. You know, just turn the world upside down. And turn you know, the life become just an endless churn, become sink or swim all the time. Now it's like, they're the people I care about. That I'd say, hey, hang on a minute, does he even get a chance in life, this guy? Go easy on him, he's not really started a war, he's not aggressive towards you, he ain't playing games. Just wants to live. Well, who give a fuck about that guy 10 years ago? Why should we give a fuck about him now? No one gives a shit about poor Palestinians. Those who ostensibly do fund their government to produce more weapons against them. It's like there's no real legitimate channels of aid getting in. But I tell you what, a lot of posh folk who are politically connected in Britain live there because it's like a seaside resort. Like, when he was seeking sympathy, that Yusuf, the Scottish First Minister, my family's parents are trapped in Gaza, yeah, on holiday there. It's like, does that really strike you as a war zone? As to be the days before Hamas launched their attack, the elite were happily, the British political elite were happily holidaying in Gaza. Go back to talks I've had about the Middle East situation. Since I've been talking about it, I'll put it to you, it's like Gaza could be really rich, you know, it could be like one of the Emirates. It's like this place could potentially be, if there was, you know, the deals could be done to turn this place into one of the richest places in the world for what it is. It's like, this is a great port, this is a great, potentially a beautiful place. It's like everyone wants this war over so everyone can enjoy it. Really? It's like that. It's like if the potential, you weigh it up, it's like the potential of it to be, you know, if this was no longer a war zone and we just got rid of these fucking gangsters, this would be a centre of the universe by way of rebuilding. Let's build something super green. Yeah, why not? Like mass reverse osmosis in that part of the world. Miracle. Build a lot of that. Huge reverse osmosis plants for water production. Built into the power stations. Have it. It's there. It's like it's one of the best places in the world to develop for all nature of technologies that everyone wins from. It would be the place. And now's actually the right time to set about rebuilding a place like that. You think that place ain't being rebuilt? If you had anything about, you know, if you had any money behind you, you'd be on the phone buying up pieces of it now. You'd be using some kind of pay-to-use satellite imaging, looking at craters and finding out what its address was and tracking down the owner and making him an offer on his crater. I'm looking at a picture here that looks like it used to be your house. It's like, I'll buy it sight unseen because, I mean, fuck it. It's like there's no estate agents involved anymore, is there? It's not as if, you know, that damn problem you had gone. Well, that you wouldn't really have one in Gaza, would you? Damn problem. It's like, yeah, we don't need anyone to go around and inspect the plumbing because it's been blown a fuck, and we'd like to buy it from you now it's been blown a fuck. And if the powers that be that have operated in this fucking world for last good 50 years or so with the old property game, yeah, people be buying up pieces of Gaza now. They will be. They'll be buying it up. It's like that crap you hear when they say, well, Israel have stolen all this land. It's like, no, they bought it. Not the country either. They're citizens. They're individual citizens have just bought it. And every time a Palestinian, let's call them, family in like East Jerusalem sells up, they all say, oh, they've stolen even more of our land. It's like, no, that guy's rich now. He's gone living somewhere nice. He's on his way to go and live in Dubai. He's on his way to Qatar with his millions. And the fanatics will say, oh, well, there's some more Palestinian land that's been swallowed up. And it's like, no, he sold it. There's property rights in this place. It's like, you've sold loads of it because it was privately owned. It's like that is a country with property rights, you know. It really is. It's when you turn it into an when that breaks down and suddenly you get settlers. Settlers, we have different. The Western world has different rules for settling than, you know, those who might call themselves indigenous. Because they say there's nothing indigenous about the Palestinians. The Palestinians are nomadic Arabs. It's like no one really wanted this territory because it's other than for its geography and its access to the sea, ports wise, don't really need it. Why? Not a great place to farm. What would make it a great place to farm? Well, a lot of engineering and irrigation. Oh, well, we'll do that then, shall we? Yes, let's do that. The point to it, it's like, there's no reason to be there. It's a shit place. Would always exist as a country till the end of time because of its ports. Major cities. Otherwise, not a great country. To run Israel would take an incredible amount of electricity, oil. To make it livable, it's like a lot of it could be said to be reclaimed desert. A lot of it still be like that. It's like a garden. Lots of it. It's like there's another angle to it all, where it's like the Arab world created current Israel. You want to say Israel created Hamas? Okay, maybe. But the Arab world created Israel. They've been on the back foot since the very beginning, militarily, coming at them not with gangs of guys with knives, coming after them with tanks. They've had other countries attack them right from the start. It's like they've been in ways you've seen. Things like political Islam rise up. All falling wake of the Jews, Israel. So to my mind, the whole Jew-Arab conflict is just part of the Cold War. It's communism. It's a relatively new invention to use that as a weapon to drive that. It's like, hey, the Jews have returned to the Holy Land, eh? We know something in the book. There's something in the book about these guys, isn't there? Suddenly when that become expedient and that then become part and parcel with communism. Thank the French for that. The French philosophers opened the door to Islamic extremist political movements. It would be communism with Allah. Instead of atheism, Allah, and obeying all the same rules as to where it's like, we're going to exploit the hearts and minds of our enemies. We're going to use everything we've got, even if it does mean reaching for religion as a political weapon to serve communist globalist ends. So I see it all as part of that. So if you throw someone at me who cries devout Muslim and is a fanatic in this imagined conflict, I think they're the same creature as that rather well-to-do, middle-class leftist speaking on behalf of the people. No, the same person. They are just the same person. They're playing the same game. They're running the same grift. And one would say, how dare you? And the other would say, how dare you? I'm a Muslim. I do it for my... No. You're running the same grift. I don't see there's any difference between them. I don't see there's any difference in their approach, tactics, a willingness to reach for just barbarity. It's there. It's the same people. So I see it as just being another theatre in the Cold War that just never got switched off. Wasn't addressed properly. Because they embedded politics into religion. They made politics sacred. So suddenly you can't question it, and to question it's Islamophobic. It's like, this is quite sophisticated, this language game, and it's allowed them to infiltrate into any victim movement, any Western right that's been granted to a people for reasons of them being victims has been 100% embraced and exploited by the more dangerous elements of that faith or group or organisation, or because fundamentally, have you seen them? I use that word too often. The more dangerous Muslims who do really, ridiculous things, kill people. The number of them that are recent converts, like ginger guys. The ones who are the most vociferous, the ones who are the most toxic and pungent, they're recent recruits. So you show me a new Islamic preacher coming up preaching here, and I'm like, oh, and then be like, he got a better offer from the Muslims than he might have got from the climate change guys, but he would hold the same values, and he's in essence going to now speak from the same script, but with the words altered by an AI. Do things with AI like rewrite Robinson Crusoe. You can ask it to do it, and it just do it. Rewrite Robinson Crusoe as a space opera set in a faraway galaxy with technology similar to that you'd find in Star Trek. Vroom. It's a creative writing app. What you'd read would be fantastic. Like, wow. It seems like that to me. It's all variations on a theme. So it's like, in seeing it like that, it's like, of course, the notion of Free Palestine, upheaval in the Middle East, is a political weapon of the left in the UK, because they actually fight. They fight for that turf using those kind of weapons, using that kind of rhetoric, using that kind of language. Because it's of its symbolic importance, by way of, something ancient, something sacred. It's like it's Free Palestine is in its way. It's like it's a slogan for the global Islamic uprising movement that never gains any steam, as far as I'm concerned. Never gains enough steam to do what it intends to do, because Islam like that would look to swallow you up from the inside like communists would. You know, the long march through the institutions. Well, they'd attempt the same. That's how you do it. It's the only way you do it. They would use the system against the system. You can look at signs to say, if that is a thing, which it can't not be, some fake words, you could see the signs that, you know, Islamic extremists and fanatics had found their way into local government institutions everywhere. NHS, central government, civil service, parliament, councils, they got it all stitched. They could be said to have already done that, masquerading as the left, actually masquerading as my climate change, my anti-racism, and they'd be that. They'd be woke councillors, but their first actual priority would be an imaginary one day, one world under Islam. And that'd be seen next to it, almost twinned with the political belief, as to say, good Muslim, and what you're doing, fighting for a more globalised, centralised government, which is exactly, funnily, the same goals as the guys who are running the climate change game, the same goals as the guys who are running all the grifts. So it's like they find themselves aligned. Has radical Islam captured the left, or have the left captured radical Islam? Doesn't matter. What you've got is the same creature who would ostensibly agree to the same kind of methods, but not methodology. Wouldn't have the same ideology, but would be in a world full of fools. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And they'd be a powerful ideological ally for the left, but fundamentally the day that they were ever to become a majority would be the day that the first people they would turn on would be you, who put them in power. Once you find out that you've been deceived, you become a deadly enemy to them and suddenly have an actual purpose. Be like switched on. I thought I was fighting the good fight, and then I was used, and now I'm vengeful, and now I'm dangerous, now I'm effective. So the day that comes, they know that's coming, so they're gone or paid off, threatened, blackmailed. That job you got, you know, you're doing all right. It'd be a shame if you were to lose it, eh? It's like to start to think about this country as being one that's already been long since taken. So no, there was no declaration of war, not a shot fired. The country's been taken. It operates under a minority rule. The minority rich in a kind of enthralled relationship with the poor. It's like Free Palestine, right? What's Free Palestine look like? No one can tell me yet. It's like, are you free in the UK? And what is freedom? Well, down to bare bones. Freedom is to have the freedom to starve to death, or freedom to give your own life for something that you might think is important. That's freedom. Freedom to die. Like, please, freedom. Freedom? Are you sure? Do you know what freedom looks like? Have you any notion of what freedom is? You live in a country where you can get yourself in all kinds of shit for things you might say that other people misunderstand, and suddenly you're in trouble because what they imagine they read is your words, and they're offended, and suddenly your history. You don't live in a free country. If you see that happen to enough people, that you guard your words to make sure one does not offend. I'm not being racist, but do your best to guard yourself like that. It's like, are you free really? You're not. It's just not in the way that the world's now become impersonal. The world's become impersonal for me. The world's been impersonal for me for a long time. But it's like where suddenly things you say can be weaponized against you. Oh, let's change the context of this. Whack, look what he said. When there's those that would use them as weapons against you. You're not living in a free country. You live in a a marketplace that understands that everyone's money spent. And that's it, you're a consumer. Everyone's money spends, and it doesn't care where you got the money from as long as they get theirs. That's what it is. It's like, as things die off, like, have you seen, there's some things you can watch on YouTube that are like mentally damaging, you know. People who can't cook, making cookery videos. You know, just rubbish. Can't cook. I've been watching a woman's videos and she, like, is a professional eater, right? And you can sit there and it's like, oh my fucking God, she's just done one of these. Get it, you know, if you can eat it all, you get it for nothing. She just sat there and polished it off in 10 minutes, and she's got about 100 videos doing this. I'm like, somebody who lives like this is going to die suddenly when your heart says no more. And I watch those eating challenges sometimes and think, you know, once upon a time, maybe I might have been able to take that on. Knowing full well now that if I was to attempt something like that, it's like, I don't think me and my arse would ever have the same relationship again. It's like you get to a certain age where it's a matter of, no, that all-you-can-eat buffet means, yeah, you might be in a bit of distress. Shit, I'm in danger of becoming Alan Partridge there, wasn't I? Danger of becoming Alan Partridge, fucking hell. It's like as practical skill dies and people become more reliant on technology, there's a weakness emerged where it's like people can't handle real life anymore. They've maybe got it as to where they can handle harsh words and criticism on the internet. They can handle that. Oh, I'm tough now. And then real life hit them. And they're like, oh no, I'm being confronted and shouted at by someone who's angry. Oh no, these people are violent. They mean to beat my ass. Oh my God. And it'd be the old lessons that my generation and every generation previously took for granted about how you run your mouth. Gone. It's like, if you're going to be provocative, be provocative. If that's what your goal is. Be as provocative as you can be. It's like, if something's sacrilege, right? This is what the communists who took over Islam, it's what they knew. It's like, if it's sacrilege and runs over people's feelings, that means it has an effect. If it makes people offended and disgusted and horrified, that means that works too. Reach for that. Do it because it's offensive. Do it because, and then it's like, oh, suddenly, the postmodern ideas all just come pouring out of Islam. It's like farce. It's like, if any religion in the world needs to be reformed, it would be to depoliticize Islam. It's a disaster. Depoliticize Islam, because it creates a socialist, imagined power pyramids based on religious precepts. So you just installed you basically put the clergy in power, and it'd be a matter of, won't some of these clergymen be corrupt dumbasses? Yeah. Yeah, but they'd already controlled who got to be a mullah before, based on, being in right family and everything. So they already had caste systems. They're proper elites. They're rich people who we can do business with fundamentally. We can understand them. There's no oiks amongst them. There's no fucking upstarts. They're just an old clique who've just, flipped from one script to the next. Like, you can stay part of this if you just go with the flow. Fine. Life carries on for the elites of Tehran. Big fucking joke. Big joke. Middle East politics, a bigger joke than ours even though, ours is a joke because we pretend that Parliament has overriding power and authority. It doesn't. It's like an oversight committee for the state, and it's like, you can't fire them. It's like the state's being driven by lobbyists. The state's being driven by shit that comes out of the universities, studies. The state's got completely different aims and goals than the government has. But we have to treasure the state. We have to thank the civil servants for the almost, you get high-paid civil servants in this country on hundreds of thousands of pounds a year, and they get kid-glove treated by the media as to say, oh, you gave up your life, you could have earned far more money than that. Thank you for sacrificing your, what would have been a great life in banking or business, what would have been countless millions by being the chief executive of council. They like that about them. Funny how they treat them, and it's like, that's the permanent government, that. And it's like, they're as woke as you like. They've got a strict power structure that understands where the lines are. They built it years ago and believe it to be perfect because, hey, they've risen high up in it. Why wouldn't it? They're brilliant. And, they've risen up in the system that they made to be perfect, that weeds out all the undesirable ideas and people. So there is a point to be made as to where our system, or a system of government, is that naive about what people are capable of in their understandings, thinking they know it all. They're so naive that almost the perfect invader and destroyer of it is an Islamic infiltration of it. That's actually the best angle of attack. If you were to try to bring it down, would be to do what Muslims could be said to have done to this country. It's like they've taken over what communists started. They've come in and they've taken over that infrastructure. They've taken advantage of all of the social conditioning commies did before them. They've, in essence, just moved in as the replacement shadow government, government in waiting. They've just moved in. And it could be said to be too late to stop it. Let's just hope they're nice enough people. Let's hope our new bosses are nice people. Let's hope our new bosses respect our rights as individuals. Make no guarantees, because it is already what it is. It's like, if I were making a video talking like this, I could be seen as being Islamophobic. If I work for anybody, a reality is, if someone decided he needs to be taught a lesson for mouthing off like that, oh, write a letter to his boss, write a letter to his HR manager, say that you're deeply offended by Islamophobic statements he's made. And, you know, I'd turn up for work about a week later or so and they'd already discussed it before approaching me about it, because that's the way it works. Or someone's come to us with this, they don't confront you with it, they confront each other with it, and then a week later they have a word with you. If I had a job, you know, something like that, as to where I was beholden to for survival, an organisation, if they were to say to me, John, we want you to remove all your videos from the internet, and we want you to keep your mouth shut in future, or you don't get to work for us, what am I going to do? Probably just wrap up. You know, like, you've been silenced. It's like, no, I was told you either shut up or you're not allowed to work. Why? You might offend people, and then they might take umbrage with that, and then they might spread it that they're offended, and then that'd be a problem for us, and they'd be like, well, why? Because we have to cater for the feelings of the nastiest, most vindictive and stupid at the same time. And it's like we're forever in our thoughts and deeds controlled by this imbecile. What they might think, what they might say, when this person's way of seeing things is obscene and twisted. But we have to pass by this imaginary censor, and you've stepped over the line far too many times. In fact, you do it every time you open your fucking mouth. We're not free in this country as long as the biggest moron is getting to police what we can and can't say without getting in trouble one way or another. The biggest moron. Because the biggest moron can pick up the phone and call the cops on you because you hurt their feelings, when they are the biggest moron, and you're somehow on the hook for that. When you live in a society where that's reality, you don't even live in a free country. You don't. You live in a police state. You live in a police state and you're daubing Free Palestine. But you don't know what free means.